A 98-page indictment sits on a desk in Georgia. It is heavy with legal arguments, witness testimonies, and the weight of history. It represents the traditional power of the American judicial system, slow, methodical, and bound by centuries of procedure. But while that document was being printed, something else was happening in the digital ether. Elon Musk broke his silence. With a few keystrokes, he didn't just post a comment. He activated a digital defense system that reaches hundreds of millions of people instantly. This is the story of a collision between two worlds. The old world of courthouses, judges, and paper filings, and the new world of algorithms, viral velocity, and information dominance. Most people are looking at this indictment and asking if Donald Trump will go to jail. But I am looking at the data and asking a different question. Can a legal system built in the 18th century survive a war against an algorithm built for the 21st? This isn't just about a former president facing charges. It is about whether the gavel of a judge still makes a sound when the platform owner decides to mute it. In the next 20 minutes, I am going to show you the mechanics of this war. We are not going to debate the legal merits of RICO. We are going to dissect how X, formerly Twitter, has become the ultimate political weapon, and why the verdict of 2024 might be decided by code, not by law. Welcome to the algorithm war, the weaponization of context. To understand this battle, you have to understand the weapon the Department of Justice thought it was using. RICO, the racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations. Act. It is a statute designed for the mafia. 'Tis meant to take down crime families, drug cartels, and sprawling criminal enterprises. When prosecutors attached those 4 letters to Donald Trump, they intended to send a shockwave of fear. They wanted to brand a political movement as organized crime. In the old media ecosystem, that strategy would have been devastating. 30 years ago, 3 major networks would have broadcast that message in unison. The label would have stuck. The shame would have been absolute. But we do not live in that world anymore. We live in the world of the splintered internet. And this is where the Department of Justice made a critical miscalculation. They assumed that the gravity of the charge would carry its own weight. They did not account for the decontextualization machine that is X when the indictment dropped. It didn't land as a solemn legal document. It landed as raw material for the internet's content creators. On X, a 98-page document is too long to read. It is too nuanced to process. So the platform's ecosystem immediately stripped it of its legal context. It wasn't presented as a detailed list of alleged crimes. It was presented as a weapon of the state. And this is where Elon Musk's intervention changed the physics of the situation. By engaging with the story immediately, Musk signaled to the algorithm that this was a high-priority topic. But not a topic of shame, a topic of combat. The algorithm, which is designed to maximize engagement, began to amplify the most emotionally charged interpretations. Suddenly, RICO wasn't a badge of criminal conduct. It was reframed as evidence of institutional desperation. The narrative shifted from Trump as a criminal to the system is terrified, and we can see the results of this shift in the financial data. Look at what happened after the mugshot was released in Georgia. That image was supposed to be the ultimate symbol of humiliation. A former president booked like a common criminal. But on X, it became a symbol of defiance. It was shared, remixed, and memed up millions of times within hours. And the result? The Trump campaign raised over $7 million in the days following that booking. When the hush money verdict came down in New York, the numbers were even more staggering. $53 million raised in just 24 hours. Think about that for a second. The legal system struck its hardest blow, and the digital ecosystem converted that kinetic energy into financial power. This is what I mean by the weaponization of context. The prosecutors are playing a game of legal definition. They are trying to define reality using statutes and codes. But Musk and the digital right are playing a game of narrative definition. And in the attention economy, narrative always beats statute. The Twitter file strategy. Now, let's look at the specific strategy Elon Musk is deploying. It is not random. It is not just a billionaire venting his opinions. It is a continuation of a project he started the moment he bought the platform. The Twitter files. Remember back when Musk released internal documents showing how the old Twitter management coordinated with government agencies? At the time, many dismissed it as old news. But, strategically, it was laying the groundwork for exactly this moment. Musk spent months educating his user base on a single, powerful idea: that the neutral institutions of government are actually political actors. He eroded the default trust in the system. So when this new indictment arrived, the audience on X was already inoculated. They had been primed to see every move by the Department of Justice not as justice, but as lawfare. This is a crucial concept in information warfare. You don't wait for the attack to defend yourself. You pre-bunk the attacker's credibility. Musk has effectively positioned X as the digital Iron Dome for conservative speech. An Iron Dome is a missile defense system that intercepts attacks before they hit the ground. That is exactly what X is doing with information. When a damaging narrative is launched by traditional media or the legal system, X intercepts it. It dissects it. Community notes are attached to it. Influencers dismantle it. And by the time the narrative reaches the average user, it has been neutralized. Or worse, it has been reversed. Musk's comments on the indictment were precise. He didn't argue the legal minutiae. He attacked the integrity of the process itself. He used terms like double standards and political weaponization. These are sticky concepts. They travel well online. They are easy to repeat. And they resonate with a deep sense of unfairness that many Americans feel. By aligning himself with this defense, Musk provides something money cannot buy: social proof. He is the richest man in the world. He is the architect of the future. He builds rockets and electric cars. When he says the system is rigged, it carries a different weight than when a politician says it. It signals to the undecided middle that skepticism is a rational position. It gives permission to doubt. And in a jury trial, doubt is everything. But remember, we are not just talking about a jury of 12 people anymore. We are talking about the jury of public opinion. And that jury is consuming its evidence through a feed that Elon Musk controls. The algorithm as the jury. Let's go deeper into the machine itself. How does the algorithm actually function as a jury? We know that social media algorithms are optimized for engagement. They prioritize content that keeps you on the platform. And nothing keeps people on a platform like high arousal, emotion, anger, fear, awe, validation. A 98-page legal document is low arousal. It is boring. It is dry. But a conspiracy theory about a deep state plot, that is high arousal. A video of Elon Musk dismantling a reporter's question, that is high arousal. So, purely by the laws of mathematics, the algorithm is biased against the prosecution's case. The prosecution relies on complexity and nuance. The defense relies on simple emotional narratives. The algorithm will always pick the simple and emotional over the complex and nuanced. This creates an echo chamber, but it is a weaponized echo chamber. It doesn't just reflect your views back to you. It hardens them. It radicalizes them. When Musk broke his silence, the algorithm detected a spike in interest. It saw the engagement on his posts, and it immediately began to push that content to millions of users who might not even follow politics. This is the power of reach. We talk about 200 million impressions. That is not just a vanity metric. That is a measure of cognitive saturation. It means the counter-narrative is flooding the zone. It is drowning out the official story. If you are a prosecutor, how do you fight that? You can hold a press conference. CNN might carry it. Maybe 2 million people watch it. Elon Musk sends a tweet. 20 million people see it in an hour. The asymmetry is impossible to overcome. Traditional media is bringing a knife to a nuclear gunfight. And there is another layer to this: the community notes feature. This is Musk's crowdsourced fact-checking system. On the surface, it looks like a tool for truth, but in practice, it has become a battlefield for narrative control. Users fight to attach notes to posts they disagree with. It turns every piece of information into a debate. Nothing is settled. Nothing is authoritative. Everything is contested. This environment is toxic for a legal case that relies on established facts. Because on X, there are no established facts. There are only competing narratives battling for dominance. And the narrative with the most momentum wins. Right now, the momentum is with the counteroffensive. The algorithm is acting as a force multiplier for the defense. It is taking every argument Trump makes and amplifying it to a global scale, while simultaneously suppressing or challenging every argument the prosecution makes. It is the ultimate home court advantage. The verdict before the verdict. So what does this mean for the actual trial? It means the verdict might be irrelevant. In the American system, we believe in the sanctity of the courtroom. We believe that justice is blind. But justice does not exist in a vacuum. It exists in a society. And if that society has been convinced that the process is illegitimate, the outcome loses its power. Musk and his digital cavalry are working to render the legal verdict obsolete before it is even read. They are trying to create a situation where a conviction is seen not as justice served, but as a political hit job completed. If 50% of the country believes the trial was rigged, the law has failed. Even if every procedure was followed perfectly, because the law requires the consent of the governed. And that consent is being eroded, pixel by pixel, tweet by tweet. This is the dangerous precedent I want you to see. It is not just about Trump. It is about the transfer of authority. For 200 years, the ultimate authority in America was the Constitution and the courts that interpreted it. But today, we are seeing the rise of a rival authority: the platform. The platform decides what is true. The platform decides who gets heard. The platform decides what matters. If a judge issues a gag order, but the defendant's surrogates broadcast his message to millions on X, does the gag order exist? If a court seals a document, but a leaked version trends on X for 3 days, is it really sealed? We are watching the erosion of analog power in real time. The Department of Justice is operating on a timeline measured in months and years. Motions, hearings, appeals. The digital opposition is operating on a timeline measured in seconds. Posts, shares, trends. By the time the court is ready to select a jury, the public mind will have already been made up. The trial will just be a formality. It's a TV show that everyone has already read the spoilers for. Musk knows this. He understands that in the modern world, reality is not what happens. Reality is what trends. And by controlling the trend, he is attempting to control the outcome of the 2024 election. The new sovereignty. We are witnessing a shift in sovereignty. Sovereignty is the right to rule. The right to make the final decision. For centuries, sovereignty belonged to the state. But now, we have a new kind of sovereign, the technocrat. Elon Musk is not an elected official. He is not a judge. He is a private citizen, but he owns the public square. And that ownership gives him a power that rivals the state itself. When he decides to throw the weight of his platform behind a political figure, he is not just endorsing a candidate. He is reshaping the battlefield. He is deploying a digital iron dome that can intercept legal missiles and turn them into political fuel. The Department of Justice can file as many indictments as it wants, but they are firing kinetic weapons at a ghost. They are trying to arrest a man, but they are fighting a hologram. A hologram projected by thousands of servers and sustained by millions of users. As we move closer to the election, this conflict will only escalate. The courts will try to assert their authority, and the platform will try to undermine it. It is a clash of civilizations. The civilization of law versus the civilization of code. And looking at the speed, the reach, and the sheer power of the digital world, I am not sure the law is winning. Resonance point. So I leave you with this question. In a world where algorithms travel faster than subpoenas, where a tweet can reach more people in a minute than a court ruling can reach in a lifetime, who truly holds the gavel? Is it the judge sitting on the bench in Washington? Or is it the man sitting in the server room in San Francisco? The answer to that question will define the future of democracy. Think about it, and let me know your answer in the comments below. If you want to understand what happens when the old media tries to fight this new power, you need to watch my breakdown on the death of legacy media. It explains why CNN and the New York Times are losing the war for your attention. Click here to watch. I'll see you there.